Hey guys, welcome to the College Predictor. I haven't posted in a while, so this is kind of a comeback video. And today's video is the College Football Awards. Just like the NFL has the NFL honors, this is the College Football Mini Helmet honors. You can see the trophy in the back. So let's get right into it. And not all of these awards are good. For example, the first one we're doing is the Biggest Downfall Award, which goes to the team that started good and then started to fall off towards the end. And those teams are the Wisconsin Badgers, the USC Trojans, and the Duke Blue Devils. Now, mind you, all of these teams were ranked at one point, so we're just going to talk about where each of these teams had their downfall. Duke obviously started the year 4-0. You could even say 6-1, beating 20 ranked Clemson at the time, 21 ranked NC State, and their only loss in that stretch was by 7 to Notre Dame. After that game, their quarterback Riley Leonard, however, got hurt, and that's where it got ugly for them, losing their next two at Florida State, at Louisville. Then they beat Wake Forest, then they lost at Carolina, at Virginia, and they finished the year with a 2-game win streak against Pitt and Troy in their bowl game. Now, this isn't a horrible year. They only had 5 losses, but the way they started, they looked like they could make a New Year's Six Bowl, so that's one of our options. Next team is the USC Trojans. The USC Trojans started 6-0, but they did play pretty mid teams. They beat San Jose State, Nevada, Stanford, Arizona State, Colorado, and they had one really mid win against 11 Arizona with Arizona's backup quarterback. After that, they only won 2 more games on the year, which were Cal by 1 point and then Louisville in their bowl game. They lost to Notre Dame, Utah, Washington, Oregon, UCLA in a 6-week span. So they fell off after that win over Arizona. Next we go to Wisconsin, who had a pretty good start. They beat Buffalo, then they lost to Washington State. They won 3 straight. So going into the Ohio State game, they're 5-2. They lose 3 straight from there, making them 5-4. They win their next 2, lose to LSU in the bowl game. They finish the year 7-6. Not the greatest year for Wisconsin, especially since they began ranked. Now for this award, we could really go anywhere. We could go SC, Duke, Wisconsin. And I know Duke's quarterback got hurt, and Wisconsin lost to decent Big Ten teams. So the award, not the good award, goes to the Duke Blue Devils in a close race with USC. Alright, our next award is the Biggest Future Award, which these teams have the brightest futures in recruiting, transfer portals, conference changes, just teams to look out for in the coming years. Those teams are the Utah Utes, the Oregon Ducks, and the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, we know all these teams had decent years this year, not too expected. Ohio State had 2 losses, Missouri and Michigan. Oregon lost to Washington twice. Utah lost to Oregon, Washington. Their season sort of fell apart. I could have had them in the downfall team of the year. Now, we do know Ohio State got the number 1 player in the class 2024, number 1 wide receiver, Jeremiah Smith, and doesn't surprise me at all since Ohio State's known for wide receivers, but that's a big pickup for them since they're losing to Marvin Harrison and Emeka Egbuka. Oregon, they just landed Dylan Gabriel through the transfer portal, as well as one of the best route runners in college football, Evan Studer from A&M, who has the highest NIL deal out of any wide receiver. Utah, they were a little disappointing this year in the Pac-12, but next year they're going to the Big 12, along with some of their friends, Arizona State, Colorado. They're fine with those teams. And Texas and OU would be a problem for them. But since they're in the SEC now, Utah has the conference in themselves. They have the opportunity to win it. It's their choice if they want to win it or not. This game could go really either way. This award's really close. I'm going to give it to the team that just barely missed the playoffs and most definitely would have made it if it weren't for one team. And that team that gets the award is the Oregon Ducks with the transfer portal. Next, we go to the Group of 5 Team of the Year, which is between SMU, who almost made a New Year's Six Bowl, Liberty, who went 13-1, and Tulane, who despite the loss against SMU in the conference championship, had a really solid year. Let's go right in with SMU. We know SMU won the American, beating Tulane on the road. They proceeded to lose to Boston College in their bowl game. but they did finish the year 22nd in the nation. That is a good game, and their only losses were Power 5 schools. They lost at Oklahoma, at TCU, and not at Boston College, neutral site. They won undefeated against Group of 5 schools and FCS schools, including a 69-0 win over Prairie View and a 69-10 win over Tulsa. So their offense was the hot point. And you may remember the game against Houston last year where they put up 70. So SMU is known for their offense. It's really good. Going to the ACC next year, they need to have a good year this year. We go to Tulane, who had a great year, like always, for FCS schools. Last year, we obviously know, beat SC in the Cotton Bowl. This year, they only had 3 losses. 2 of them were Power 5. One of them was number 9 Ole Miss by 17, and the other one was Virginia Tech in their bowl game. And then they lost to SMU in the conference championship. So they only had 1 loss against a top 10 team in the regular season. And I remember I posted the video about the Tulane game. I do love Tulane. It's going to be hard to pick against them in this award. Next, we go to Liberty. Obviously, no, 13-0 regular season. 1 loss was at Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl. Part of that's probably Bo Nix played. Other than that, they were hot the rest of the season. They were averaging, I believe, 40-something points a game. They scored over 50 twice this year. So this is a really hot team on offense. However, they didn't really play anyone too good. The best team they played was New Mexico State twice. And then the next best game would be Jacksonville State. So they didn't have the best schedule. So it gives me a little bit on Tulane's side, but the award has to go to the team that made the Fiesta Bowl. The Liberty Flames get the award for Best Group of 5 team. Next award is the Surprising Team of the Year. So this is a team that no one expected to be as good as they were this year, and they shocked everyone. The Louisville Cardinals, the Northwestern Wildcats, and the Missouri Tigers. We know Louisville made the SEC championship, got not throttled, but hell, they couldn't score against Florida State's defense. Northwestern beat Utah in the Vegas Bowl and finished the year 8-5, when I believe they were expected to go 4-8. Missouri was barely expected to make a bowl game. They were at 6-6 preseason. They finished the year amazingly at 11-2, I believe. 2 losses were Georgia, LSU, and they beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. We know Missouri has great talent. Luther Burden, Theo Weiss were big time in the game against Kansas State. Part of that is their kicker Harrison Mevis. If he doesn't make that field goal, then they don't make the Cotton Bowl. Northwestern, no, you can't name 5 players on Northwestern. I mean, I only know Cam Porter and Ben Bryant. So that's kind of the load for them. They didn't have much of a hot offense. Like always, their defense carried them. They somehow won a game 10-7 in Wrigley Field. A win's a win, though. And Louisville finished the year ranked. Jamari Thrash, Jack Plummer, they went off. It was a great year for them. The award, however, will go to the Missouri Tigers. It's kind of hard to go against them in the SEC. Next award is the Disappointing Team of the Year. Now, this is a very, very prestigious award. You do not want to be in this. And the nominees are USC, the Colorado Buffaloes, and the A&M Aggies. Now, all these teams have a bunch of talent on their team. I mean, SC had Caleb Williams, one of the best receiving corps in the Pac-12. Their defense was the thing that stopped them. They couldn't stop hot offenses like Notre Dame or Washington. Colorado, they started the year amazing. 3-0, they beat TCU, Nebraska, barely beat Colorado State, and then they beat Arizona State. After that, 8 losses. It was not good for them. They have Travis Hunter, Shiloh Sanders, Shadur Sanders, Xavier Weaver. You got to do more with that loaded roster. 4-8 is just not it. A&M, they spend more money than any other school every year just to be on the mid-table, 7-5. They need to pick it up if they want to have any chance of making the playoffs now with Texas and OU in the conference. Now, all these teams besides Colorado made a bowl game, but Colorado was expected to be a top 10 team like SC and A&M was. So I'm going to go ahead and eliminate them from the award. So we're going to go ahead and give the award to the Trojans because I don't like them and they kind of suck this year. Next award is the Comeback Team of the Year. Now this award goes to schools that didn't have the best season last year, but bounced back and had a great year this year. The nominees are the Texas Longhorns, the Washington Huskies, and then the last team in this is the Missouri Tigers again. Now, I'm leading on Washington's side here since they made the playoffs, made the national championship. Last year, they only made not the Alamo Bowl. They did win the Alamo Bowl and almost beat Texas. And they did beat Texas. Texas last year, very mid-table, and the year before that, they didn't even make a bowl game, and they spent so much money. They had the right guys at the right time, made the playoffs. Great year for the Longhorns. They needed that going to the SEC. And we know about Missouri. No one expected them to be good. Last year, they weren't good. This year, they were amazing. If it weren't for Georgia, they would have probably made the SEC championship. Because of that, I'm leaning towards Missouri, but we already gave them an award. Washington, they just had too much talent on their team to get this award. So the award goes to Texas. Their first national championship, their first playoff appearance, counting the BCS national championships, since 2004. Next award, Defensive Team of the Year. And this is a really tight battle between Iowa, since it's all they really have, Michigan, who won the championship, and Florida State, whose defense carried them when Jordan Travis went down. We know Michigan played awesome against Washington, Alabama, and Ohio State, Penn State defensively. But other than that, they didn't have that many great opponents. So their defense had to show themselves in those 4 games. We know Iowa's offense can't score for anything. They somehow made the Big Ten championship. You ask why? Their defense. Cooper DeJean led it. Jay Higgins was a tackle machine. This was a great year for them defensively. Florida State got scandals for the playoffs. I've said it every video I've made. But their defense with Jared Verse, Patrick Payton, Braden Fisk, Kalen DeLoach, Jerrion Jones, Cypress, they had a great talent this year. It's disappointing that they couldn't put it to use in the championship game or the semifinal game, or however far they would have made it. But they carried them all year. They beat the Heisman Trophy winner because of their defense. Yes, they scored a lot. Their defense did help that game as well. Yes, Michigan won the national championship, but I have to give this award to the Florida State Seminoles. 2 more awards left to go to the Offensive Team of the Year, which the nominees are Washington University, Oregon University, and the Heisman Trophy winners, LSU Tigers. Now, I know Washington, Michael Penix, Rome Odunze, Jalen Polk, McMillan, when he was healthy, even the walk-on tight end, senior, Jack Westover was great. They had a great O-line. Oregon, however, had Bo Nix and Troy Franklin, Bucky Irving. The Big 3 trio led them to an 11-win season. If it weren't for Washington, they would have made the playoffs. We know LSU's offense is loaded with Brian Thomas, Mason Taylor, Jalen Daniels, and Malik Neighbors. So they had a great year. It's just a little disappointing what they did with it. They didn't even make a New Year's Six Bowl. So just because of that, I got to eliminate LSU. Comes down to the old rivals, Washington and Oregon. And it also comes down to head-to-head. Who scored more points in both games? The Huskies. Washington gets the award for its Offensive Team of the Year. And we go to our last award, the Team of the Year. The nominees are Jacksonville State, their first year in FBS, 9-win season. The next nominee, it's pretty obvious. The Michigan Wolverines, national champions, undefeated, finally get over the hump after losing 2 playoff games in a row. And the third option for Team of the Year, the Missouri Tigers, their third nominee of the year. Michigan won the national championship. Jacksonville State had the best first FBS year ever. Missouri made a New Year's Six Bowl no one expected them to. This is a very diverse award. I'm going to try to keep it quick and simple. If you win the national championship, you're the Team of the Year. So, congratulations to both Missouri and Jacksonville State on amazing years. But Michigan has to get the crown. Michigan gets the crown of best team of college football 2023. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, I'll be starting to post more often with more conference overviews. I'll be picking my March Madness bracket when it comes out and making more content in the offseason. I'll do some mock drafts and I'll do some videos on recruiting. But until then, see you later.